All right, final module. I was a little windy in the previous video, so I'm going to try to get started here right away because I went over the 15 minutes. All right, so let's lay the setting. We're talking about a situation that happened at Briardale School. The program is an elementary school, student population of 600. The district consists of 6 schools, elementary schools that is, and it has, I want to say 2 or 3 junior highs, and I know 1 high school. And it seems that the Briardale School of the 6 schools is the most used out of all the schools by the community, which means there must be a strong relationship, strong tie there. District focuses on basic schools, skills, and instruction, so that's where their funds are going, and they use outside sources as a means to fund the supplementary programs such as music, art. What do we know? Briardale is heavily used among the patrons. Again, that's a good thing. That tells us that that it must have good program or facilities, and that the community and the administrators, like I said before, have a good time. The parents are very supportive of the supplementary funds raised by the foundation. There is a competition between the schools within the same district for funding of supplementary subjects. So as it says there's competition. They're competing for, in a sense, money in the money that supports those subjects, and so that could cause problems. I could see that right there. The competition between the schools has created confusion in the allocation of these funds, and so all this competition and all how it's set up and structured has created confusion. Each school formed their own foundation, with each shared by a parent representative. The foundation recommends to Mr. Santos where the funds shall be allocated. He then forwards suggestions to the site curriculum committee. I didn't like this, how this was worded. It made it sound as if Mr. Santos was not having any involvement where the funds are going. He's just forwarding to the site curriculum committee how they were going to be used. As a principal, I would think that he needs to be right in the middle of that structure, providing it and giving ideas as to how this money needs to be used. There's a new president of the foundation who's extremely motivated by the fact he's competing against a former frat brother. And the idea of the cash for raffle come from a fraternity. And it sounds like they had a great fundraiser, made lots of money. But they didn't do their homework as far as the legalities of it. Mr. Burley was arrested for what appears to be a gambling violation. What I would like to know is, did Mr. Burley get approval of his raffle for cash fundraising idea from the school site committee? It said in there, Mr. Santos, meaning me, talked to him and informed him that he needed to get approval of the fundraiser by the site committee. So did that happen? I need to know if that happened. For if he didn't follow orders, then that's at least makes it look better, I guess, on my part, that I told him that he needed to get approval, yet he didn't. So this is still my fault, though, as far as I'm concerned. As a building leader, did I look into the legalities of the fundraiser, or did I know the fundraiser was taking place? 1, I should have known the fundraiser was taking place. This is nothing new. Sounds like they do it every year. 2, the legalities of the fundraiser. If I did not know what type of fundraiser they were doing, then I should have known. And I should have been checking, especially when I've heard cash, raffle for cash. And I would say obviously not, as far as did I check into the legalities of it. The real story, Mr. Santos had a booster type foundation that was led by a parent, coordinated an illegal fundraising activity without knowing the activity was against state laws. That's basically what happened. Legal and ethical issues. Raffles are a form of gambling and are legal in the state of Kansas. In order to legally organize a raffle, one must purchase a license. Mr. Burley did not purchase a license, obviously. And the last statement is dig deeper. To me, I need to dig deeper into and make sure there isn't other violations, maybe even other organizations such as Keisha. I need to find out what other illegal actions could have been committed through this one fundraising event. And again, it may not be the state of Kansas. It may be in, like I said, Keisha or whatever else the school is involved in. I want to really go into dig deep into those issues. Facts. Defined by the Kansas Department of Revenue, raffle means a game of chance in which each participant buys a ticket or tickets from a nonprofit organization, with each ticket providing an equal chance to win a prize and the winner being determined by a random drawing. If a nonprofit meets the criteria described in the constitutional minimum and the gross receipts are $25,000 or less, the organization does not apply for a raffle. So I've looked at this, and the That's a lot of money, 25,000. So I don't know if I have this right. This comes from the Department of Revenue. This is what I looked up. This is how I read it. The one thing that I'm still missing, I'm going to go ahead and move on here, but the one thing I'm still trying to figure out is on that raffle, if it was for cash, does that change it? For example, what if they had a raffle to buy a chance to win cash, but you had to make a free throw? Are there, I looked into the laws. I couldn't find the answer. I would be calling somebody is what I would be doing and trying to dig deeper into this. Only nonprofits whose gross raffle receipts exceed 25,000 need to apply for a raffle license. The application must be filled and license received prior to the ticket sales. And I will say this, the cost of the licensure was not very much compared to the amount that was being raised. Here's a little history. I was talking to the secretary as of before 2014, if I have this right, and this is how I read it, the raffles were illegal, period. And then they made this amendment in 2014, which allowed raffles to happen for only nonprofits. There's a lot of reading there. I probably shouldn't have put all that in there, but I was putting the amendment and basically showing that, hey, there's a change in the rules. More facts. Mr. Burley coordinated an illegal activity to raise money for supplemental programs. I said that before, but I want to make sure that he was doing this to raise money for the school, for the arts program, for the music department, so that, or maybe it's the ag department, so that there's more options for the kids. So he wasn't stealing. He was doing, I'm assuming he thought he was doing something great for the school. He just let his competitive side come out and didn't do his homework. The activity was well supported among the community administrators. According to the law, it was 25,000. So obviously, you had to bring in more than 25,000, that's buku bucks. Sheriff arrested Mr. Burley at the time of the raffle without any warning. I wonder why. Why did the sheriff wait till the day of the raffle? To me, if the sheriff, it said in the reading, the sheriff had been tipped off, and it was before that day of the raffle. So why wasn't something happened before that? Why did they wait to embarrass everybody right before the raffle? I mean, it was like set up. To me, as in the arrest, to not only make him look bad, but to make the school look bad. So my only thought was maybe the sheriff's from one of the other six schools and is looking to embarrass the school because there's high competition between all six of them. So that's a lot of assumption there. Organizing the information. This situation is bad publicity for the school and for me as an acting principal. It's a work. That's just a fact. How will the parents see Mr. Burley? Good intentions, but didn't do his homework, or should have known better, get rid of him. That's a big deal, because if Mr. Burr is a nice guy and everybody loves him, and he did this not knowingly, it just changes stuff versus maybe somebody that's always been living on the edge and always pushing the limits. The school has a potential to lose support from the community due to the lack of structure with funds and due to the lack of leadership. And again, this problem is on me as a principal. To me, it could have been avoided by me. It's not the parent organization, it's by me. I should have been more involved. Who has the most to lose? Supplementals are funded by outside foundations. This could hurt future fundraising, in turn could hurt supplemental programs such as music and art. So although the parents being charged with a misdemeanor, the biggest loser, in my opinion, and of course Mr. Sanders was embarrassed, the biggest loser is the at-risk kids. And I'm going to specify them. And the reason why I say it is because it's the music and the arts. And that's a generalization, but it won't be the English programs. It won't be the math programs. And usually your at-risk kids are more to the excel in arts and music. This is a big deal. Options. Ignore the event and just move on. Of course, this is going to display weakness. And it's going to say that I'm a principal that wants to avoid the conflicts. That's not good. You need to tackle them. You need to me, hit them straight up and figure them out. Distant the school from the foundation. Again, I don't think this is a good option either, because it's in an area where the parents support the foundation, the school. This option has a potential to hurting future funding. So essentially leaving the parents out to dry on this one, or the foundation, or let Mr. Burley take the fall. And again, I believe this is the worst option, for it could cause backfire within the school community, because it's showing that you're going to let somebody who thought he was doing good take a fall when all he was trying to do is help the community, the school. I could see a lot of backfire in that. So let's look at the strategies that I think that could help de-escalate the issue. One, own up to the mistake, take full blame for the debacle. And as I own up, I need to provide solutions. Some of those solutions need to entail a structure that's going to go into place, and that structure needs to be implemented into the foundation itself if we're going to have those foundations. And I say the biggest part is the principal probably needs to be a part of that committee that's planning these fundraising activities and funds, or as far as telling or raising funds for the school. Excuse me, sorry. Take actions immediately. So I need to contact the local sheriff's office right away. I need to find out if there are any other actions that are illegal before it gets too far out of hand. And I also need to show people that I'm on outside the school that I am acting on the situation, that I am trying to solve it, to fix it, to move forward. Discuss and implement new policies to avoid future embarrassment. And we have got, this is a big thing. There's obviously some procedures that got to be taken in place as far as steps of approval for future fundraising activities. Be transparent. Mistakes were made. Admit it. Here's the issue. Here's how we're going to handle it, type of a deal. Provide those to the school, the teachers, the students, the community. District meeting, District meeting implementing new policy on allocation. We need to get all the schools together. This isn't just a Briardale problem. There's obviously competition, but if we're one district, we are one. And so we need to make sure we come together and get some new policy and new procedures intact. And it's got to be more structured in the raising and handling of funds in order to earn trust back. Best options for Mr. Santos. This is me. Being that I'm in my opinion, that Mr. Santos, could ever prevent all this embarrassment, I would write a written apology to the teachers, Mr. Barrow, the parents, and administration. I would use all forms of communication to deliver this message. I want them to know that I made a mistake. I didn't do my homework. I wasn't involved into this foundation enough to help them form the structure they need to be to successfully do your fundraisers and help the school. Take this negative and use it to move forward, okay? Especially in budgeting. So we need to take a look, okay, we're getting all these funds. How are we going to allocate them? How are we going to determine, are we going to keep 6 separate foundations? We need to take a look at those and say, what's the best options for our district? And I believe a good principal will always move the bar forward. Bar forward for kids no matter what is happening around him or her. So if it's good or bad, we're going to move the bar forward for the kids, not for the administration. Look at me. No, for the kids. Best options for continued, I would be transparent in how the past funds have been spent. So I need to show them, hey, this is how they were spent. There's no need in trying to hide anything. If mistakes were made there, then get them out. In the apology, I would note that procedures and policies are being examined in order to fix and prevent any future problems, and I would make sure that we are examining them, not just say it. Communicate with the sheriff. Again, I need to be talking to the sheriff. I want to know what's going on there. I want to know what's going on, why he waited. And I also want to know in the courthouse what activities are legal and illegal, as far as, are there any more? Get more involved in the foundation associated with Briardale. I got to get involved in that foundation. And honestly, again, we need to take a look. Do we want 6 separate foundations in one district? Provide ideas and challenge the entire district to implement new policies and raising of allocations of funds from outside sources. And this is a huge thing. Mr. Stanton must evaluate the effects of the decision that was made to see if any more needs to be done or if he made the problem worse. Those decisions, we may make bad ones at times, as in Mr. already happened. It may make it worse. I need to know, is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Because if it's getting worse, I got to change. I got to figure out and change my plan. I also need to make sure that that there ain't any new problems arising from it. Follow up with all the individuals involved to ensure things are moving forward. Again, I got to get all the people involved, Mr. Burley, the sheriff, the community, and say, hey, how are things going? Are you hearing any more? Okay. Is the problem being fixed? Show them, are the procedures, show them that procedures are moving forward on my side as well too. Get feedback from the staff and the community on the handling of the situation, even if it's bad feedback. Hey, Mr. Santos, you're an idiot. Okay, well, fine. Okay, maybe that is the case. I need that feedback to go, hey, what are they saying? Where are we at? Continue to follow up until your 100% problem is solved. I'm going to continue following up till I know it's solved and we have moved forward and moved the bar forward for our district. Here's the references of the Kansas Department of Revenue and what a great class. I loved it. Thank you.